Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations, a podcast by Practical E-Commerce.
What's going on, Internet? Eric Van Holtz here, back again with another E-Commerce Conversations. Hope all's going well on the other side of the Internet today. Well, today is pretty interesting because I did a little tweet out to the Twitterverse. If you're not following me on Twitter, do that now. My handle's at Van Holtz. But I had an idea for a video. It's pretty much talking about our technology stack, talking about what we're doing at Beardbrand. And to do that, I brought on James.
Howdy. How's it going?
James is a Beardbrander here, and he kind of heads up our marketing efforts, growth marketer. He wears a lot of hats because we're a pretty small company. But James, why don't you go ahead and give a quick rundown of who you are?
Yeah, so I'm James Wilson. I've been working at Beardbrand for a little over 2 years now, 2.5 years. Prior to working at Beardbrand, I worked at Amazon for about 7 years where I was doing data work basically. And eventually I got the opportunity to come over to Beardbrand where I started out as a data analyst, but then moved into leading up our growth. So I do pretty much anything that can help grow the company. I think I have a hand in.
Yeah, so the first thing I want to say for any of you guys listening, don't try to hire James, okay? He's a Beardbrander. So if I hear about any of y'all listening to this show and you got to hire him or offering him some obscene money, I will be very upset. Yeah, so don't do that. Just don't do that. All right, so I wanted to get going, kind of share what we do at Beardbrand. I'll probably handle half these. You'll handle all the ones I don't really know about. But the big one, of course, is Shopify. You weren't involved in that decision at all. It was in place, but you haven't even considered switching off Shopify, have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about Shopify is it's never even crossed my mind that we'd need another platform.
I do think if you really start digging into the platform, there's a lot of like kind of hacks and runarounds and like finagling that you got to do to like make certain things work that don't necessarily work out of the box, but the benefits outweigh the downsides, I think, of the platform.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think like if you're willing to get your hands dirty, you can make a lot out of it for sure.
Yeah. And, there's certainly a robust ecosystem that supports it between applications, which we'll get into a little bit more, and partners as well. Like we've worked with FieldMate in the past who helped us build a completely custom website. And there's many other partners out there as well who can, essentially do whatever you need it to do. When you think about Shopify, there's huge companies on it as well. I don't think it's any longer the case, but Tesla, I think, was a Shopify store early on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Gymshark is doing some obscene type of volume on there. And then you got my side project called bandholtz.com where I do one t-shirt every quarter.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. I'm just losing money. I'm just paying the Shopify fee. It's a terrible investment.
I've also done that.
So Shopify is great. We've been on Shopify since we started the business. Highly recommend it. I know there's people who use Magento, BigCommerce, and have good experiences with it. But again, for us, it's just not been something that we've really felt like our hands were handcuffed, that we needed to switch. But speaking of like kind of handcuffing and like hacks and runarounds, another app or tool that we use for our auto renews or subscriptions is Recharge.
Right. Yeah, we use it obviously for our subscription management. To be honest, I haven't looked into a ton of the alternatives until recently where they started to bring out the news that they're going to integrate the Shopify checkout with the recurring checkout. And this has kind of made us take a look into other alternatives. But until then, Recharge has just been an app that has worked very well. It always processes the information correctly, and it would be a big hassle to move off of it. So we just kind of stick with it.
Yeah, and for people who aren't familiar with it, I suspect it's going to be similar with other software from like Bold or other tools out there because it is not like a native integration with Shopify. So you have two different checkouts. They look completely different. You have different payment processors. So we have to use Stripe for our subscriptions versus Shopify Pay for our store. And what they have to do is like every reorder frequency is its own like product in the reports. So if I just wanted to see how our beard oil was doing, I would have like 200 different like beard oil options.
Yep.
Because I've got 6 different fragrances and then like 3 different reorder frequencies. What is that, 18? And then you got your variants in your kits. It's just not super clean. So I'm really hopeful that when Shopify rolled out this new integrated cart, like this news literally just hit us like a couple of days ago, that it cleans a lot of that up. But we just kind of got to wait and see. Word on the street from Recharge is it will be what?
Next year sometime.
Yeah, first quarter next year, hopefully, but no telling when that'll be out. So
yeah, and the other thing about Recharge is making sure that it will integrate correctly with your product pages. I think that has been a little bit of a sore spot for us at times, just the way it looks on our product pages. So if you have a brand that's very focused on design, you might,
you got to invest more time. Let's talk about some of the basics that every single e-commerce brand should have or e-commerce store should have. Google Analytics.
Yep, Google Analytics, you should have it set up. You should take a course if you don't know how to use it because it's not 100% intuitive, but you need to learn Google Analytics. It's just essential to understanding your store.
And then what other kind of pixels?
In terms of pixels we have, we're looking at our Facebook advertising, of course, our Google advertising. For us, we have a couple Google pixels. We have one for a search, display, and shopping account, and then we have a second one for our video account. And then in addition to that, we have Klaviyo. We have a script running on Klaviyo to allow us to do abandoned checkout, abandoned cart, basically just full integration with Klaviyo for remarketing, which is very powerful and something I would definitely recommend.
Bing? You don't want to talk about Bing, our Bing Pixel?
We had a Bing Pixel.
Oh, we pulled it off? We're not doing Bing anymore?
Yeah, no, we don't do Bing anymore.
Oh, that's news to me.
Yeah. Yeah, Bing branded search is not really worth our money.
We got to do DuckDuckGo. I think that's the new second biggest browser out there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe they're doing ads.
Yeah, we should do ads on DuckDuckGo. How are we managing all these pixels? Are there any other ones? I guess we got rid of our live chat.
Yeah, we no longer have live chat.
We'll talk about that in a little bit, but
yeah, those are honestly the main ones that are on our website right now is going to be the Facebook, Google, Klaviyo. One thing I guess that we should say is we have a philosophy to keep things very minimal on the website. So we don't just put every pixel or every script onto our website that we can. We kind of evaluate like with a very cautious attitude towards it because we're worried about site speed.
We weren't always that way, and we kind of had app creep. Which I think is a really big problem that you guys need to consider and look at how to uninstall or delete inactive apps on a regular basis just to make sure you're not loading all these scripts and prompts that will bog your website down. Are you using any kind of tag manager to better manage that? And if we are, explain to people what a tag manager is.
Yeah, so we use Google Tag Manager to manage basically our Google pixels, but actually not our Facebook pixels because there's a kind of native integration with Shopify for Facebook. But Google Tag Manager basically allows you to set up scripts or events on your website and kind of track them through Google Tag Manager. And then those events or scripts or whatever you put into Google Tag Manager will go through to your Google Analytics and you can kind of see all of the data.
Okay. And is that tag manager also slowing down the website or not?
I see it loading when we load our website. So it's going to create a little bit of slowdown, but it's okay to slow the website down, I think, if there's a big benefit from it. And Google Ads is a big benefit from us. So it's kind of a necessary evil for us.
Yeah. So we briefly touched base on this. We're a Klaviyo house, been on Klaviyo since I think like December of 2014, maybe October 2014, sometime around then. We do a lot of flows with them. We used to be on MailChimp. And of course, this is all before your time.
Right.
I know there's a ton of alternatives out there like Constant Contact, Aweber, Klaviyo. Of course, I'm a big fan of Klaviyo. I've spoken at their conferences before, and they've done a really good job of changing things with their software as issues resolve. In fact, I got a story for you. I was interacting with Klaviyo. I mean, we've been with them so long. They were a small company we started with, and their UI was absolutely terrible. It's just like they're clearly like a engineering focused team, which is great because their stuff works, right?
Right.
It works, it gets out the door. So anyways, I did just like this little Photoshop mock-up. I'm like, hey guys, like here's how I would design your dashboard. And then like 2 weeks later, it looks strikingly similar to the design I sent them.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if they if they're just like happenstance to kind of look the same.
Yeah.
But I should dig up that old Photoshop I sent to them.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
And see how close it is. But yeah, Klaviyo, use Klaviyo. They drive, like 6 figures of revenue.
Yeah, it's pretty much indispensable for us. And there's a ton of stuff you can do on there. It can be intimidating, but again, it's just about jumping in there and getting to know the platform. I have a lot of fun building pretty complex flows with interesting logic in there to kind of segment our customers. You can basically do it all if you are willing to jump in there and get your hands dirty.
Yeah, give kind of like a quick rundown of what some of those flows look like and how we're using them.
Yeah, sure. The most obvious two, right, are going to be we have the abandoned checkout and abandoned cart, which is a very easy thing to set up in Klaviyo, and I recommend you do that. It's basically if you abandon your item before getting to checkout, that's abandoned cart. And then if you get to checkout, then that's abandoned checkout, and you'll get an email.
You know how dumb I am?
Huh.
I didn't realize that these two things were separate things.
It is a bit confusing. I actually didn't realize either. So
like it took me a good 6 years.
Yeah.
No, I'd say like a good 8 years before
Yeah.
I'm like, oh crap, these are two different things and you should have two different campaigns for them or flows for them.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to save you a lot of money over Facebook retargeting, right? So I would definitely recommend doing that. It can obviously only do it for people that are in your email list or it has knowledge of, but still pretty valuable for us. In terms of a more interesting flow that I think we've done, one that I built was a win-back flow. And that was basically segmented on, what have you ordered? And then we calculated the average reorder time for every single product. And you would get one email in the kind of lower bounds of the average reorder time. And then, maybe wait 30 days. And then you get another email in the kind of higher bound of the average reorder time. And that's something that it was quite complex to build because we did it all in one flow for every product. But, Klaviyo can handle it. So it's pretty great.
We got to get those deodorants in there now, huh?
You're right. We do.
Add it to the list.
Yeah.
I was looking through our code right now. Audio Hook, what's that?
Audio Hook is a audio podcast retargeting company that we've been doing a case study with currently.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So if you remember, you recorded some ads.
Yeah. How are those doing?
They're doing okay. Yeah, they've
Really?
actually done pretty well. We've seen good results. And so what Audio Hook does is basically you provide them with a recording, or they can do it themselves, and then they will basically take your ad and put it out to iHeartRadio and Spotify and Pandora and all these channels that would be kind of a pain to do yourself. It's been pretty cool, and look for a case study from us with them. We're getting it ready.
Oh, cool. We'll have to talk more about that afterwards.
Yeah.
I remember I recorded that, 2 months ago, 3 months ago?
Yeah, it was about 2 months ago.
And I did 15-second spots?
I think they're maybe 45. No, yeah, you're right. Probably 15.
It was 15 seconds, and I just rambled on. I had no script at all, and it was the most unprofessional ad you could imagine. I wonder how many people who listen to these podcasts have been served those ads or not.
Yeah, I'd like to find someone that's been served one because they were pretty funny.
Okay. I'll have to pull them up. I forget completely what I even talked about. Okay, so we also, speaking of scripts included, I'm looking at our review system. Now, this is something that you were involved in.
No, that was prior.
Was that prior to you?
Yeah, I mean, I was here when it happened, but I didn't actually do it. But I think the thing that we switched for it was price, right?
Yeah, we were Yotpo for a number of years, and I think Yotpo is a great company, and they have really good technology, but we are essentially paying for features that we weren't using. And you're paying a lot. I think Yotpo, we were paying something like $300 a month. And judge me, what are we paying a month?
I don't know off the top of my head.
$15.
Yeah.
It's maybe $20 or something like that. It's significantly less money.
Right.
And for what we use it for, we get all the features. Now, you did have to get it integrated into our template.
Yeah, so I think that's the one challenge that I've seen with Judge Me versus Yotpo is that you'll see integrations for Yotpo where you won't see integrations for Judge Me. So you do need to be aware that you need to do some maybe custom coding at times. I've had to do it twice. So once is in our theme. We use Prestige theme on Shopify, and getting the number of reviews into basically some curly brackets, some parentheses on there is a pretty complex coding challenge that I think probably the average person without some coding skill wouldn't know how to do.
Yeah.
So that's one thing to be aware of.
So where you save money on the monthly bills, you need to invest in a developer or coder back-end person to get it set up properly.
Yeah, exactly. And the same goes for Shogun too. I had to kind of manually integrate it into Shogun.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. There's also other reviews out there. I think Shopify has native reviews that are essentially free, and they're very, very bare bones, very minimalist. And I wish I could remember the other company, because there's like a competitor to Judge Me that's like, I don't know these prices off the top of my head, but it's essentially like twice the price that people seem to be pretty pleased with. I think we just went with Judge Me because it provided all the things we needed at a lower price.
Yep.
If you are looking for more robust like advertising features, like Yapo will do like automatic emails of reviews and, kind of like user testimonial kind of stuff, then Yapo might be a better option for you. Okay, so Shogun. I got one of the founders of Shogun, hopefully coming on to the show in the future, Finbar. I met them at a conference, at an e-commerce fuel conference about a year ago or in February, and they just seemed like really smart guys. What is Shogun?
So Shogun is basically a drag and drop landing page builder. It allows you to very quickly create pages with some really great features in them, like your products, your product photos, titles, shop buttons. All that stuff is just drag and drop in there. So you can quickly kind of iterate on brand new ideas for building any sort of landing page you want.
So a couple of things I want to talk about. We made the strategic decision in May of this year. Was it May or March?
Probably March.
March of this year to bring our web dev in-house. So we were working with FieldMade, Carson over there, who's an amazing company, and they do amazing work, amazing talent. But we wanted to move a little more quickly to be able to iterate and test, and we recognized we might have the talent in-house. So with that decision, the strategies were, as James said, we went with a premium template from Shopify. So we're using like a $200 template, and we've kind of skinned it. I wouldn't even say we skinned it. We just took nice photography, and then over time kind of done more. And a little background, as James mentioned, he came here as a data analyst. So he's got no web dev background, no design background, anything like that. And that's a big thing about Beardbrand, is just your willingness to learn and to try and grow. So he's been really good at that. But all these things of working on Shopify within Shopify, you can learn. And Shogun, in my opinion, seems like something that allows us to really launch things quickly and test things quickly.
Yep.
Do you see, this kind of goes back to what we talked about before, there's the trade-off of speed. Do you see any kind of degradation in how quickly pages load on a Shogun page versus a native page?
No, I haven't really seen that. I know that Shogun are pretty good about making sure, like images lazy load and everything like that natively. So I think they are definitely aware of page speed as something to prioritize. I really haven't seen any problems in terms of speed on those pages.
And not only that, Shogun seems like a tool that allows us to get more functionality out of Shopify that we couldn't get natively.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think the most powerful part about Shogun is that it allows, for me, I have a hard time designing things. Like I'm not a designer. So it kind of takes care of a lot of those design aspects for me. Then I'm a more technical person. So I actually end up writing little add-ons and scripts to add to our Shogun pages, which makes them a lot better. But yeah, a great example would be we have these fragrance pages on our website, and you can shop 11 products in a row on them, which is just something you can't do on product pages.
Yeah, without like significant custom.
Yep.
I just tweeted about how great Shogun was, and a lot of people mentioned there's an alternative on the marketplace called Gem Pages, which I guess does a similar thing but has a little bit nicer user interface. I have not used that, but if you're looking at an alternative to Shogun, maybe consider that. But again, I can't endorse it. What other kind of things we're using? What was one of the things that I said we get back to?
Well, actually, there's one more thing to touch on for Shogun, which is kind of an advertising pro tip is if you're into Facebook advertising, taking your Facebook ads and then building custom landing pages for those ads in Shogun is like a really great winner for us. It takes a little bit of time because you need to make a landing page for each ad, but it's very specific, and I think we've seen good results.
Yeah, so a lot of people use, Lead Pages or something? Lead Pages, I think, is the company that a lot of people use. But all these are essentially like a Lead Pages alternative for Shopify.
Right.
One thing I wanted to talk that we don't have is, and we touched base on it earlier, is the live chat.
Right.
Part of our speed optimization, we found that live chat was probably one of the biggest resource hogs of loading our pages.
Yeah, it definitely will slow down your website pretty significantly. It can be helpful for your customers for sure, but it will slow down your website. It's kind of what we found.
Yeah. So we did an alternative strategy, which was to bring awareness to SMS texting, which we use as a live chat.
Right. Yeah. So we have our SMS program, which is powered by Emotive, and we kind of use it to do one-on-one conversations with customers, and it replaces live chat. We have it up in our banner on the top of the website that if you need advice, you can just ask us.
So with Emotive, what you have to load is 10 characters of code, which is
Right.
your number. And then people can click on that. And so there's essentially nothing that you're adding to the page. We don't have any kind of scripts for Emotive. Now, when we went with Emotive, we looked at Emotive and what was the other one? It starts with a P.
PostScript, or am I making that up?
It might be PostScript. So anyways, we went with Emotive because it allowed us to receive
It was images at the time. Yeah.
at the time, which PostScript was not able to do. They may have that functionality out as well. So I know there's alternatives to Emotive, but the way we're using SMS is like purely as a live chat alternative. But we are starting to collect phone numbers for more text marketing.
Yeah, I think it's something that we need to grow into a bit.
Yeah, I had Dennis on the podcast, and I was like, yeah, man, maybe SMS is a legit thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we cut live chat because of speed. Speaking of chat and customer service, our customer experience, we use Gorgeous.
Yep.
I haven't really, when I started the company, I first used Zendesk.
Right.
And Zendesk, I feel like, has become this dinosaur, but it's one of those things where you're just kind of entrenched in it. You don't want to leave it. I was on Zendesk for a good 2 years or something like that, where I just didn't want to be on it. Yeah. And since we switched to Gorgeous, we haven't used Zendesk in a while, so I don't know if they've upgraded anything, but we've been really happy with Gorgeous. When we looked at the prices, I think the pricing was pretty similar to Zendesk, maybe a little cheaper. They do it differently. Gorgeous is on a per ticket basis, unlimited users, and then Zendesk is a user basis. So depending on your setup, if you have a bunch of users and fewer tickets, you may want to go with Gorgeous. But if you have, one person who handles a ton of tickets, then maybe Zendesk, or I know there's a couple others out there. Helpdesk, I think, is another that we looked at, but Gorgeous seemed to be a pretty good solution for us.
Yeah, it's been good for us. I honestly don't get in there every day, but the interface is great. And I also like how it integrates with Facebook, like social media, basically. So you can get comments from your ads or posts routed into Gorgeous, which is pretty cool.
One thing I would recommend is if you can get someone who's almost like a consultant of customer service to be able to set up automation, because there's a lot of automation you can do with your tickets and a lot of ways to use it to expedite your replies. Just you type in OBO or something, and that will be okay, here's whatever that sentence is. And being able to train your customer service team, because I don't think we really did that. I don't think typically your customer experience people or your customer service people are naturally going to think that way.
Yeah, that's correct.
So it would be good to kind of have someone come in, set it all up, create the SOPs, explain how to do all these things, and really start to optimize it. But we're getting up to 8 figures, and we still only have one customer experience person handling all our stuff.
Yeah, so it's pretty impressive.
My key to good customer experience is don't run out of products, and send products out quickly, and send out the right products quickly, and have a website that has all the information you need. And then you're not going to have a lot of tickets.
Right.
So if you're getting a lot of tickets, try to think creatively as to maybe there's better ways of solving this rather than more manpower.
Yeah. And one thing we did with our tickets was making sure we were tagging them all, and then we were actually reporting based on problem issue each week, and then trying to fix those issues. So try to get those different tags down is pretty important.
A couple of things I want to also talk about are maybe smaller apps. We have Grapevine.
Yeah,
which
that's
is probably the
favorite app.
Yeah, which is probably the best investment that you could have. Just install this. Don't even think twice about it.
Yeah. It's a total no-brainer. Basically what it is a survey tool that allows you to put a survey basically on your thank you screen. We use it and we just ask people, how did you find out about us? We get maybe 27% of people answer. So a decent amount of people answer, and it's just completely instrumental in driving our marketing efforts. Like, you'll put time into YouTube ads and then you'll start to see Grapevine go up, for example. It's really cool.
So the cool thing about Grapevine is they give you pretty good access for free, like a free app. In their premium app, guess how much it is?
It was like $5
No,
or something.
$3.
$3.
$3, dude. Like, you pay the $3, get Grapevine, get that question. It's the best app probably on the Shopify store.
Definitely.
And we'll even change a question out. We'll do like a product feature question every once in a while. Like, why did you buy from us? Is it because you wanted instant confusion? Is it because, like we have the best products, whatever that is.
Right.
Which is a little bit different of like, how did you first hear about us? So there's just kind of different ways of being able to use it depending on what kind of insights you're looking at. But if you're doing any kind of influencer marketing, it's another good way of
definitely
verifying where you're getting sales from. Another small app that we use that I think is Store Locator by Store Mapper.
Yeah, so that one allows us to map all of our retail locations, so places that sell Beardbrand products. We have a page on our website where it loads, and it's very interactive, which is cool. You can scroll around the map and see different stores, and you can customize it. So you can say like, which products does this store carry compared to other stores? And I can say, because I did it recently, it's very easy to bulk upload a bunch of data into it. So you can get up and running quickly.
Yeah, so that's going to be more applicable to anyone who's got bricks and mortar, or you're distributing your products to other retailers, but probably not necessary. But we've had that for a very long time. We've been able to customize the design, and it looks nice. I don't even know what we pay, but it's one of those things that, again, it's kind of worth it to have.
Definitely.
A couple other things in here. I think a couple we got to delete. We got live chat still in here, and easy discuss we have in here for comments on our blog. I would recommend just turning your comments off on your blog.
Yep.
You don't need to manage or moderate that. No one's coming to your blog to interact and comment.
Right.
Especially us as a company that has like 1.6 million subscribers on YouTube. You would imagine that we get a lot of engagement, but no, you don't. So it's all you get is spam, and then you get another plugin that's slowing down the website speed. We've got a couple other things in here like MetaFields Guru, MetaField Editor, custom fields. Tell me about those.
So the one that I use is MetaFields Guru, and what it allows you to do is edit the meta fields for any Shopify page.
What's a meta field?
So meta field is like some information that you need to store about a page that you don't want displayed on the page. And what you can do with that meta field data is you can use Shopify Liquid, their coding language, and you can pull it out, right? So Judge Me, for example, the data for Judge Me is in the meta field for your product page. Then Judge Me writes a script and it puts it onto the page, pulling from that meta field.
Cool. I got a few other ones. Zapier, are we using that at all, or we use it temporarily?
Yeah, we used it temporarily for a test with Bonjoro, which is another cool software.
Yeah.
It was like a video software where you can send short videos. And so we did a test where we used Zapier to send over our first-time customers to this Bonjoro service. And then we sent out a bunch of video messages to them, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, so I think Bonjoro is really cool. The key part is just making sure you got the team that can dedicate the resources, and we're just not there yet. But I think in the future we may be, but you need Zapier integrations, which is also kind of cumbersome. So hopefully as Bonjoro gets more built out and more integrated with Shopify, it will be a more robust tool.
Yeah, they do have a native Shopify integration. It just, you were not able to do the logic that we needed.
Oh, okay. And then I kind of want to talk about some things that we're not using, which you would think maybe a company of our size should use, VWO.
Yep, VWO. So that's a A/B testing software. Yeah, it's interesting that we're not using an A/B testing software. I think we kind of take the philosophy of just do it. It tends to be how we test everything. But I think in the future, I would like to use something like VWO. The question is, will it slow down the website? And then the second thing is, you need a lot of traffic. Like you can't do A/B testing without a lot of traffic if you want it to be statistically significant.
Yeah, and I don't know, like we have a fair amount of traffic, so I think we can get that data in a relatively short period of time. But I've also found that like those percentages, they just change wildly too. Like your conversion rate or something where and maybe one day you're hitting it and one day you're not hitting it. I don't know. I've just like, as you said, I kind of prefer the mentality just be directionally correct, learn quickly. And if you see something not going the right way, then pull it off.
Yeah. And I think that just comes with being in tune with like all of your analytics on your store. I'm making changes all the time and I just check to see if things are changing, So.
Yeah. A couple other things. We use RFs, speaking of tools and data and analytics.
Yep. So RFs or AREFs, no one really knows how to say it. It's a great website for learning about SEO on your store. I check it every morning to see which keywords we are doing better on or worse on, or have we gained a featured snippet. It's basically a massive repository of information for SEO. What my recommendation would be is just kind of start slow with it because it's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
But if you follow along with some blogs, they have a great blog. You can learn a lot from that tool.
What other tools are we missing? What kind of technologies are we leaning on that I've forgotten about?
Typeform.
Oh my God. Yeah. Typeform, man. That's huge for us.
Yeah. I mean, if you go to our landing page, you'll obviously see that we have a quiz, and that's powered by Typeform. It's a really great software. So it allows you to build forms or quizzes or whatever you want to do that's kind of like question answer format. And it's very customizable. I will say if you're going to do something very complicated, it might not be the best tool for that. I've run into problems myself, but for just like simple quiz building, it's pretty awesome. And I mean, it's really allowed us to grow our business in terms of action and things like that.
Yeah, and in addition to that, it allows you to use it in multiple ways. The reason I made the decision to go with Typeform was because I was looking at like quiz software. We were going to start with the quiz, and I knew that the Typeform quiz implementation was going to be a little clunky. But the quiz solutions were all like 300 or 400 or 500, or they take like a percentage of your revenue, which is like one of my biggest pet peeves you could ever imagine. Like that, it's almost like I'm barely on Shopify. Every time Shopify is like, oh yeah, here's a new 1% fee, I just get so angry, just that sense of entitlement. So all these quiz softwares would do similar stuff. And so we decided to go with Typeform because obviously it was a flat fee. And then not only that, so we're paying, I think we pay like $100 a month for Typeform.
Yeah, it's about that.
And I think we've broken the servers a few times with our data that we were accumulating. I think we were probably like one of the heavier use cases for it. But the reason I really wanted to go with them was because not only can we use it for the quizzes, but we can do it like a post-purchase survey or a questionnaire, or like if we ever need to do market research or we're product testing, you've got this great form and it's just a nice user interface that people like to use. It's just, highly recommend them.
Yeah, just an awesome investment.
A couple other tools you've probably seen: ShipStation, TV commercials. We kind of, we'll use that because we work with our own fulfillment partners. We use it a little more heavily, but now it's kind of for like one-off packages that we're sending out there. They're here in Austin, great little company. Well, I don't think they're little anymore. They're acquired by Stamps. Who else we use it? Anyone else? Am I forgetting anything?
Let's see. We have a couple smaller apps on there, I guess, like a fraud filter. Make sure. Yeah.
Is that a Shopify default one though? I think that is Shopify's fraud filter.
Yeah.
Like we don't pay for that.
No. That's important to have though, make sure you're filtering out potentially fraudulent customers.
Launchpad, are we using that for like product launches and stuff like that? That might be a Shopify Plus thing.
Yeah, I think it is.
And Scripts too is a Shopify Plus thing. We are on Shopify Plus.
Yeah. If you have Shopify Flow Access, which I think is also Shopify Plus, that's a very powerful, really awesome tool to be able to, like tag orders or do any sort of logic based on your orders. I use it quite a lot.
I think there's so many more opportunities than we're doing to like automate things within our practice. I don't think that way. Just like a manually get it done kind of guy.
Yeah.
So it's nice to kind of have that stuff. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you having me on, kind of like opening up our book. Hopefully our listeners learned a thing or two about what we're using. We went a little long on this one, but we're using a lot of tools, a lot of technology. We even left off like, the obvious ones like Google Apps, Slack, all that stuff. But those are more business productivity than they are e-commerce specific. So any final words, James?
No, just be careful with the apps you install, make sure it doesn't mess up your page speed. That's the lesson.
Yeah. And where do you check your page speed at?
There's something called Google Lighthouse, which is a great way to do it. And that'll break out all of your different, factors on your website, like content load and all that stuff. That's what I do. And that's because I tend to think that Google looks at Google Lighthouse. So that's important for me.
Sweet, man. There's also other, like
Pingdom
is another source out there. So there's other ways you want to go if you really want to dig into the optimization. But I kind of agree with you. If you're optimizing for Google, use what Google's using. All right, guys, this has been another e-commerce conversations. Hope all is well and you're able to learn a thing or two from the way that we're running our e-commerce business. Thanks for listening. Cheers, and keep on growing.